Hi, everyone. This is Christine from Kyanite Psychic Services, and I'm so happy to be back here sharing with you all on YouTube. For those of you that might not be aware, I took a little bit of a break over the summer for a few months because I moved. I moved from Southern California, where I lived for almost 20 years, to Vancouver Island in Canada. And I'm just so grateful to be in this place on the planet. I'm loving this new location and feeling really nourished by the energy here. But it was a big move, so I needed to take some time for that. A lot of logistics. I wanted to share, as I'm kind of easing back into making videos, a bit of what I learned throughout that move, really what I experienced, just from the heart. Um, it was, at the same time, it was and was not a straightforward process. Around 2022, like mid to end, I had a very strong feeling that it was time to move. I'm so grateful for the experiences I had in Southern California and in Los Angeles, but I'm sure many of you had this a feeling where, okay, I've kind of come to the end of this chapter, and there's more that I want to experience and more places I want to be on the planet. I've always been someone who enjoyed traveling and relocating and stuff. So it was time, but I didn't know exactly where. I know there are places that I enjoy on the planet, but there wasn't just one. And that's actually, the first thing that I want to say, just reflecting on my experiences. There is no one next place for any of you that are looking at relocating. And really, this is with any next step or any choice. There isn't just the one place, and if you don't move there, you don't do the one thing, then you get an F on the test, right? This is something that came up a lot in my meditation space, even in exchanges, reading and healing exchanges with others, that there are many pathways available. And you can choose and choose out of um, or from the vibration of, you know, childlike wonder, like, what do I want to experience next? What do I gravitate towards? But there's not just one choice. It took me a while to personally release that angst over right choice, wrong choice, even though it's like you can know, but really to know that there isn't one. And that was one reason why I think it took just a while to get on board to move, but also divine timing, right? A lot of the time when we're looking to manifest something, right, we want it now. And sometimes you can have it now, but sometimes it's beneficial to be patient. So in the spring of 2023, I took a trip to Vancouver Island. So my partner is from there and his family. We've been there a bunch. We wanted to explore more than just the area where his family lives. And there was that, intuitive hit that there's something here that you should see. So I asked when we went on the trip, okay, if there's a beneficial place for us to move to, please make it abundantly clear, very clear sign. And, I'll say this time and time again, when you ask for a clear sign, you will get it. I have always received a clear sign when I've asked for one. You just have to keep your eyes open, right? That clear sign can be a feeling, it can be visual, it can be in a conversation with someone. You will always get one though when you ask. So when we pulled into the place where I live now, it was actually a pit stop on the way to somewhere else. We stopped the car to, go get some lunch because we were hungry. I'm like, this place feels like home. It was that feeling. And not only that, we get back in the car after walking around, eating. I look up at the street sign right in front of my face, like above your head, right? And the street sign name was the name of one of the guides that I've worked with for years. So that was probably one of the clearest hellos physically that I've ever gotten. It's like, hello. So, after that trip, it became clear and we're doing some research. Okay, the practical research, crunching numbers, all that good stuff that you should do when you're going to move. And it wasn't adding up. It wasn't adding up for us to be able to afford to relocate to this particular place. And, the guidance was to wait. Okay. So I waited, and because I'm cheeky, I entertained moving to other places. I was like, maybe I'll get there eventually, but I'll go somewhere else first. Nothing really panned out. Nothing really panned out, right? And then in 2025, it was a really clear push, like it is time to move. So I went back with my partner. We recrunched the numbers, revisited the idea of moving to where we live now, and it checked out. There were a couple of reasons, there's practical, but also metaphysically. There were some more lessons for me to learn in Southern California. And, we can get that kind of precognitive stir, like, okay, it's getting to be time to relocate. But, have patience. If you are still where you are, even though you're wanting to leave, ask, what are the lessons that I'm here to learn right now? And I found that it was really helpful to keep coming back to that question. Okay, if I'm still here, why? So there were some, personal lessons. Another answer that I received when I kept asking that question was that there was some karma to be completed with the land that I lived on, with the spirits of that land being in that place. And that's an interesting concept. I don't think it's talked about too often, but it can be helpful to look at, especially if you're wanting to relocate. What karma do I have with the land that I live on, with the beings of the land, even with, well, other people that are tied to that location? And how can I complete that in this lifetime so I can move forward? Sometimes it's through action, right? Things that you're going to do, exchanges that you're going to have. And sometimes you can energetically, working with tools and your highest guides, complete that in, the quantum and in the meditation space, right? And that can help you to move forward. Another thing that I learned from this move that sometimes delays and challenges are for your highest good, right? And it's something that's like we know that, but when you're in it, it's really hard to acknowledge that. There were some aspects of this move for me that were like boom, 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 boom in this year, like in 2025. So when it was a green light go, right? Looking for a place to live, like everything fell into place beautifully. Um, I asked for certain things in a property, and they were all there immediately. However, in the move, like the sale of my home that I lived in California and moving here, it was not entirely straightforward, and there were some big challenges, some delays. It was stressful. And coming out on the other side of it, the moment that everything went through was the absolute most beneficial moment that could have been, especially financially speaking. And that was a huge lesson for me to, anytime fear and anxiety came up, like, oh, is this going to happen? Why was I shown like the most beautiful property that had everything I was looking for, and then it won't go through what that, anytime that stuff came up, it was, learning opportunity for me to see it, name it, and release it, and keep holding the faith and holding my vision. And again, everything went through at the absolute most beneficial moment, like down to the hour, honestly, that it could have. And I think, tests of faith, they aren't fun, but they're really important. Um, and the whole experience for me has increased my capacity to have faith, right? So maybe for you all, and all the different experiences that you're having, look at delays or challenges as opportunities for you to increase the amount of faith that you can hold or you can have. No, they're not fun, right? But coming out on the other side, I can say this, now in this moment feels so beautiful and I feel a deep level of healing, having experienced everything that I went through. So that's really what I wanted to share with you all. Um, and if you're where I was in like 2022, 2023, 2024, like in a long period of transition, just keep asking, what are the reasons? Why am I still here? What is left to learn? What karma is left to complete? How can I be of service where I am in this period of transition? Those are all really beautiful questions to bring forward. One other thing, I hit the record button again. Um, there are times, in manifesting where it just comes to you. Boom. And then there are times where you need to take direct physical action to get to the thing. And sometimes we do need to put in a lot of effort and hard work to get from point A to point B. So for me, in my experience, in some regards, finding the home that I'm living in now was like, boom, here it is. And it's working out. But there was so much, so much effort, paperwork, physical labor, planning that had to be put in on my part and my partner's, right, to get us from point A to point B. And when you feel that call, it's time to move now, it's beneficial to take action right then. In retrospect, if I had dilly-dallied a little bit, like, okay, I'll just take my time packing, getting things together, we would not be where we are now. Because, it's like markets, real estate, finance, like all of that, the shifts and changes there were so, well, right now it's really volatile. Like it was down to the moment for us, right? So if I didn't take action immediately when I heard the call, I wouldn't be where I am now. And so I know personally it's like I'm taking that lesson and running with it in all other facets of my life. But it's really important sometimes when we feel that when it comes to manifesting, sometimes you really got to do things, take the physical action. So that's what I wanted to share with you all. And I'm really looking forward to creating more content from this new place on the planet. And I'd love to hear from you all in the chat if you've had similar experiences moving or similar experiences with things that you're trying to manifest and create in your life, what you're working through. Feel free to leave a comment down below. Thank you so much for being here. Be blessed, and I look forward to connecting with you again soon.